Episode 2. The Pattern. The night fell silent. Smoke still drifted from the blackened stone wall. The smell of scorched rock lingered in the air. Alias looked at his hand, then at the spellbook, then back at the wall. A slow grin crossed his face. I might actually be a wizard. He returned to the small room he rented above an old cooper's shop, but he never slept. The spellbook became his entire world. Every page, another lock. Every spell, another mechanism waiting to be understood. He studied them, disassembled them, learned why each symbol belonged exactly where it was. The next spell he learned, a spell called Prestidigitation. A tiny flame danced across his fingertips. He snuffed it out with a smile. He warmed a cold cup of water, cleaned the mud from his boots, made a copper coin, smell like fresh bread, then like rotten eggs, just because he could. He couldn't help but smile. Magic wasn't always destruction. Sometimes it was elegance. As the hours passed, the simple tricks gave way to real magic, sleep, detect magic, mage armor, then shield. He needed to know if the spell worked. Unlike Firebolt, it demanded faith that the pattern would answer before danger arrived. Crowe raised his hand, spoke the words, and for the briefest moment, a translucent barrier shimmered into existence around him. He smiled. It wasn't just magic, it wasn't a weapon, it wasn't armor, it was a lock that refused to let the world in. The shimmering barrier faded. Crowe frowned. Perhaps he had imagined it. He spoke the pattern again. The invisible shield blossomed around him, exactly as before. He smiled. It wasn't luck. The barrier dissolved once more. Curious. He raised his hand a third time, spoke the words, waited. Nothing. He tried again. The pattern was flawless. The words were perfect. Yet the magic refused to answer. He closed his eyes, searching for the strange feeling he'd experienced moments before. It wasn't gone, but it was distant, like trying to draw water from a well that had nearly run dry. Crowe lowered his hand. Interesting. The pattern is still there, but whatever answers it is exhausted. For the first time, he realized the limit wasn't the spell, it was him. When the morning came, one page caught his attention, a small ritual, unlike the others, not a burst of power, not an illusion, a companion. Find familiar. Crowe traced the diagram several times, read the ritual again, then frowned. The spell required incense. His excitement faded. As he turned the page, spell after spell demanded things he didn't possess. Components, materials. He closed the book with a sigh. I should have robbed the tower a little better. The thought almost made him laugh. He'd stolen the greatest spellbook in existence and forgotten the spellcasting supplies. As the morning passed, he noticed something else. Nearly every spell required one of three things: words, gestures, or objects, sometimes one, sometimes all three. The objects fascinated him most. Why should a piece of cured leather matter? Why a pinch of sand? Why charcoal or silver? The spellbook never explained. It simply assumed the reader already knew. Crowe hated assumptions. His father used to say, if you don't understand why something works, you don't really understand it at all. Crowe intended to understand everything. The gold he'd been promised no longer mattered. Neither did the Thieves Guild. The book had shown him something far more valuable. Knowledge could be stolen, and if knowledge could be stolen, what else had been locked away? Crowe closed the spellbook, looked toward the distant chimney fires of the city, and frowned. The guild would be expecting the book by now. He looked back down at the worn leather cover, then quietly smiled. That's going to be a problem, because I'm keeping it.